Let's take a look.
Hey Buns, today we're going to talk about what are the most impressive things that you can flex with in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, things it's intentionally
Okay, and
vague
I
because
also want to see in
things can
chat
mean anything, really. It could
if
be
you
the
have any
mount,
of
the
these
gear
things.
set,
I want to
the
know what you've
titles,
done.
anything that is very,
So feel
very
free
prestigious
to
and
interact.
impressive. Something that it's clear just by looking at it that this guy no-lifed the game or got insanely lucky, or there's something else very special or notable about them that you can tell because they have
I feel
this
like
thing. It can't just be anything that took a long
when
time.
she doesn't
And
wear
not
her
just rare
ears,
for the sake of being rare. It's got to
it
be more
just
than that.
feels
Something
a
that you
little
look
bit
at and you
weird.
go, damn,
I'm
this guy,
so used to
like,
her with her
get a load of
ears.
this guy, like,
I just sometimes when I watch a
some
video
major
without
factors
it,
that I
it's
considered
just
when compiling
like,
this
where
list
are they?
include determined effort spent. So you had to kind of work towards it. Lasting achievements, not just something that's temporary, that's cool now, but maybe won't be so cool later. Like, it's always got to be cool. And recognizability, something that the majority of people, I guess people at endgame, players have been playing a little while, they can recognize that and say,
Except
yes,
for a bunch of
cool.
sprouts
Wow.
like me. Like, I wouldn't know a high-end player
gives a prestige. Other people
if it was
recognize
screaming
them.
in my face.
Some examples of things that I left out, and here's why. Something like
I
the
know this
Amuro.
one.
Yeah, it takes a while to get because it means you have to get all your battle jobs to 80. But for me, I was able to pretty lazily do it. And I think that if you just put enough time doing it, it's not very hard at all.
Do you think
So
they're going to raise it to 90 instead of 80?
Impressiveness.
I wonder.
Mounts you get from
Probably
clearing
not.
a Savage tier, while impressive when the raid is new, don't retain that high status forever because later
where
on,
is this
when
from?
Sync those raids, the gear gets better.
What's this mount
and
from?
killing the bosses becomes trivial. So I think because of that, the mounts
I think they're pretty cool.
Some of the wow factor they had when the raids were new. Similarly, you can unsync old trials, making them super easy while you farm for the trial mounts. So while it is cool to get
even
those
I have some birds.
mounts, I think that on unsynced the bosses are pretty much just loot pinatas.
I'm just too lazy to do those.
I think that does disqualify.
Oh, mine are some Shadowbreakers, I see. So it's gonna remain like that. Got it.
Impressivest things. As for minions, some of them are rare, but
what is that?
I think that the problem with minions is most people don't know which ones are rare. Like, I think that in compiling this list, the notoriety and the general understanding that the thing is rare matters a lot. It can't be overly niche that only minion collectors would know.
Look at little Yotsu.
Rare for the sake of being rare isn't that good because there's a storm out that is actually very rare according to FFXIV Collect, but it's just rare because nobody wants to buy it. So like, rarity doesn't always equal good at it. Some of these things are more like categories because it just makes more sense.
Is it because you already have the free black version
yes, this
of it?
will be all colored by my personal opinions, but I would wager that all these things are things that most people would be very impressed by were you to flex them openly.
Why is it
the ultimate flex? So these are from clearing the hardest content in the game. The yellow ones are from the unending Coil of Bahamut Ultimate.
They are gorgeous though.
It also gives the legend title.
This makes me want to be an archer.
The Weapons Refrain Ultimate, also known as Uwu.
But I would be an archer for nothing because I wouldn't get those.
And the cogs all over it are
nah. Was that the bard
thing? The cogs are pretty big too. You got some big cogs on some of these. Cool. Those are from the Epic of Alexander.
Okay, I like the Dark
Knight
one.
Also gives the perfect legend title.
The Paladin one is the least impressive one in my opinion. Which is a good thing.
One of these weapons.
Because I won't develop an obsession.
This is a league far, far above what I am.
Shit, this is so good.
And that turned out to be not correct. You know, sometimes seeing things like this in the game.
They're so unreachable.
They make you strive for more. They make you want to be
They're
better.
not like 100% drop. You have to continuously do the raid to get these weapons and then roll for it, right?
You are good at the game. Or at least you were able to not be bad for a full 20 minutes. Kind of more. The Necromancer title. This would be awesome to have on Reaper. Side note.
You receive a totem?
The Lone Hero
What's a totem?
Title, though, let's be honest, Necromancer sounds way cooler. These are extremely
rare. Oh, you
traded
to a vendor. Okay.
Soloing a deep dungeon. Necromancer is from.
Oh, okay, I know this one. I actually saw a bunch of people with the title, but I think I was just lucky to see them.
You understand why this is so insane? Is this clip from Meiji. Now, Meiji is the one that wrote the guide, like the guide for Palace of the Dead that I will link below. I'll also link to their Twitch below and their YouTube channel. Okay, just for some context, Palace of the Dead, to clear it, to do the solo clear, you have to get to the final floor, which is floor 200.
But you can't do it all at once. You have to develop the resistance, right?
Harder and harder and harder. And here's a clip of what it was like for one of the best Palace of the Dead players in the world to fight one mob, a mimic, on a very, very high floor, floor 192. Wow. So you can just look.
Every single minion is a boss.
Of hiding that is required.
A freaking raid boss.
Constantly. Like, you cannot take more than one hit from this thing. This is without steal. So steal is a buff that you can get for yourself, but I mean, a lot of this is about luck. You might not have that buff available. You might not have looted the thing.
Like, there's no such a thing as a time limit or anything. You just like take your sweet time and do it, right?
Hiding skill to survive the situation, and if you die, that's it.
What if you're not arranged?
You have to make it from floor 1 to floor
What if I was to go there in some world where I was capable of it as a Bally? Like, just thanks to being beefy, you get to do it.
Has both titles and cleared Palace of the Dead not once but 3 different times. It might have been more.
There is time
because I talked to them at the end of June, and he said he was still going for more clears then. So this is Sadie Sassafras on Litch. I was like, why? Why are you going for more clears? Like, why would you suffer more? You already have the title. And he said that he wanted to get back on the leaderboard for Machinist as his clear got
There's a leaderboard?
So yeah, there are rankings that you can check here.
I feel so new.
He also said that it's a good time sink, and it is fun to go in on other jobs to see how they handle stuff in there. Like, clearly he just enjoys the content itself. That's what keeps him coming back. He said that compared to something like Savage, a Deep Dungeon solo calls for a massive time commitment, and it's just a huge personal responsibility. There's nobody else in there that can help you. And he said, it's
you don't get to blame anyone else either.
It's on me. There's no chance of someone else ruining a run.
1 hour per 10 floors?
Sadie a little while ago.
Sounds like it would be more fair to have like 1 hour per 1 floor.
I can already see here from the leaderboards that his Scholar run is at 186. Which is pretty impressive because some jobs like Scholar are even harder to do on this than other jobs. So he's like added a new level of nightmare mode to something that's already a nightmare mode content, like just for the lulz, pretty much.
I should learn how to play Pally and do this.
Shout out to Angelus Demonos, whose name I actually did hear a week or 2 ago when I heard that Angelus had soloed Heaven on High on every single job. Sadie said that Angelus does streams that are like how to do Palace of the Dead from 1 to 200 that were helpful, and puts his clears up on YouTube as well. So I'll link to all that in the description box. Definitely worth checking out if you're considering soloing. I also asked Sadie if there's anything else that he wanted to suggest to you buns who might be considering this.
This is actually useful.
And he said,
as well.
Do not be disheartened if you die early on in the climb. The first few floors can be bad if you're under-leveled in Palace, or if you get ambushed by patrols and Heaven on High. I never played Machinist before trying out solo Deep Dungeon, and I managed to get there, so anybody else watching can't. Oh, that was really crazy.
That's actually...
like, he wasn't even like a pro
maybe falsely motivating, but motivating nonetheless.
Doing this achievement, so that should be encouraging for some of y'all. Next up, rare PvP loot. So I've kind of put this all in one category because honestly, all PvP mounts are rare since so few people do the content. So I kind of do feel like that is changing lately, but that's a subject for another day. I kind of
maybe with the influx of WoW players who like PvP
mounts that are super
maybe
rare.
People start playing more PvP and try to kind of like
in the feast
build a scene or whatever.
Because like once the season rewards are out, that's it. You can never get those rewards again. So it's a good reason to go do the feast while it's current. Sometimes
I've never seen these mounts.
It's not a mount, but instead really cool armor sets, which was the case in season 18 and 19. The Samurai and my static Macopsy actually has this, and all the time, like every day, people even DM me on Twitter to ask where he got this armor because it's super cool and super rare. And I'm like, I mean, sorry, that ship has sailed. You should have done Feast season 18 or 19.
Should have done more PvP, right?
Can't get it anymore. Best you can do is feast your eyes on it. Modeling these PvP mounts for me here today is Sumi Himawari from Shiva, the top mount collector on my data center, according to FFXIV Collect. So I don't know how accurate it is, but still pretty impressive. I asked her, Sumi, if they had to no life PvP to get top 100 for these mounts. And they actually said, no, it's not even that bad. In most seasons, it takes like 30 to 50 hours of work. If you play like 2 to 3 hours every day, you can spread it out a lot. Bad. Y'all should know that season 20 of the feast is underway right now. So if you want to fight me, I mean, you can. I've been doing it.
Is Zepla doing PvP as well?
Look at this. The first time I've been ranking up in PvP. It's actually been pretty fun. But I bring it up because, not to tell you to fight me, but to tell you if you want the soon-to-be rare mount from Season 20, the Dreadnought.
Okay, what mount is that? Now we know, right?
You might dread not doing it. The Tiger Mount. Also, the Triceratops mount from doing hunts. That's killing world bosses.
Is that not just like getting an achievement?
Tiger, you need to kill 3,000 A ranks and 2,000 S ranks. The S ranks being the brutal part, because they're often pretty difficult and weird
you need to
spawn.
Kill 3,000 mobs?
To get
like
them to
5,000 mobs?
You need to go to their spawn location and just die repeatedly, like over and over and over. Like maybe it'll spawn at some point. There's others that you need to go to their spawn location and eat.
How much time does that even take?
And they might show up, or maybe you need to catch a particular fish, or maybe it just has to be during nights of the full moon. Like it sounds like a joke, but yeah, that's how a lot of these are. So some of them are kind of pain in the ass. The Triceratops requires you to kill 2,000 A rank elite marks and 1,000 S rank.
I think I had enough time on Triceratops in WoW, as I got all the dire horns.
Hard for like 6 months to get these mounts.
I'm past them.
I was like, when you say you went hard,
but it still would be cool.
What does that entail? And they said S ranks can take up to 132 hours to respawn. You had 3 copies per zone at Shadowbreakers launch.
Do you have to be logged in like
servers with world travel,
time?
So you could get 50 realistically every 3 days, and per week something like 100.
Do you get anything for just
ranks
killing it
every 3 days or so?
Out in the open world? Is there like an instant reward of some sort, or no?
Shells to make sure they get all the call outs to be alerted when there's a hunt to go kill. And I do suggest you join those. I know Phaloop has been an amazing resource for this.
Currency tombstones, okay.
Links to that below. Basically, if you want these mounts, the hunt is going to become your end game. Like, that's how you got to earn your stripes. The Mentor Pegasus mount, or the Astrope. This requires 2,000 Mentor roulettes.
2,000? Can you only do like one per day, or can you do more?
PvE Mentor, which means you've gotten 1,500 commendations, you've done 1,000 duties, and you have finished Crystarium role quests as a tank, a healer, and a DPS job. You also need to have completed every duty in the game.
Oh, okay, we have those.
Including extreme trials.
Not that I'm going for it ever.
Pop up in your Mentor roulette, with some exceptions being Ultimate, Savage, Current Expansion Extreme Trials, and Binding Coils. So the idea behind the Mentor roulette is to send mentors into groups where their guidance and advice would be needed most.
How does it even?
Sprouts who
how do you even get like a successful Mentor roulette?
Someone there to give them a little help, right? AKA Serene on Reddit said of her experience getting this mount.
How does it get confirmed that you did your duty?
To advice if given, and sometimes
instead
they
of just like
with
queuing
hostility to tips,
or whatever,
even if they were performing.
I don't understand
poorly.
how.
So I learned
you get the
times
completion part. Do you just like queue for the duty?
Well.
And if you finish it, you did the Mentor roulette, regardless of whether you help or not.
They did say that in synced extreme.
Oh yeah, you have to clear it, but like you can just be quiet the whole time.
Advice. So I mean, I guess
that's weird.
Getting your ass beat by a grandpa with the cabbage people.
Oh man, I hate that, man.
Teach you a little lesson in humility, yeah. They said that synced extremes counted for about 10% of the duties they completed towards their Astrope mount. They said it always took a lot of time and effort and typically ran for the full 60 minutes. My clear rate for synced extremes was pretty decent. I took the time to type out and teach the fight mechanics almost every time I got queued into an extreme, and I would try to coach players who were struggling but played a crucial role in the fight. Many, if not most, teams were pretty receptive and understanding about needing to respect the mechanics. However, there were also many lost causes, times where no amount of instruction or guidance would be sufficient to get a team to clear. Now, I asked Rasumi here about their experience getting this mount.
Oh, wow.
And they said, I set aside like 5 months and did it all day until I was done. On good days, I got around 60 to 80
can you do a day?
And on bad days, I got like 10.
You can do as many as you want.
Content you get on that day. Sariba Yoko here also got the astrope and told me that they had been doing it more casually, like 5 or 10 times a week. Sariba said, I only went in mentor roulette if I'm in a daddy mood. More blue mage mount. So to get this one, you must be in a fully blue mage group with silence echo turned on and undersized party turned off. You have to do binding coil of Bahamut turn 5. Second coil of Bahamut.
That's such a cool
4,
mount,
though.
Coil
of Bahamut
as many
4,
as you want. Okay, so you
then
can just low life it and just be like,
Father Savage,
I'm gonna teach now.
Sun Savage and Soul of the Creator Savage. Again, it cannot be unsynced. So that's one of the things that I think gives this mount the staying power. It's always cool because it will always require effort. I asked my friend Laramian, who you see here on the Morble, how they would rate the difficulty of these blue mage.
It has such a cool animation.
Normally on Savage,
it's
and they
so
said that in
cool.
general, the blue mage Savages are a bit easier for blue mages as we can cheat mechanics. But it can vary.
Is that how you farm the tombstones?
Then why don't we see more people
as a blue mage?
Like, is it just hard to find a blue man group? And they said, yeah, you need to go out and hunt down a group for it in Discord. I have recently seen a small trend of people gathering up in Party Finder, but they wait a long time. But who knows, in the time before Endwalker, there may be more blue mages doing it. The legacy stuff, that includes the legacy tattoo, the legacy gubu, or the legacy chocobo. So any proof that you played the game when it was ass. When everybody was like, don't play that game, it's not a good game. You were like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to play that game anyway. Well, now you have cool stuff to show for it. According to this post on the FF14 subreddit, the game actually punished players who put any effort into playing it. If you earned too much XP, you got fatigue, and basically you earned less and less XP until you earned 0.
Oh,
the only thing you could do was stop playing the game you paid for.
I like how they say it was worse than 2 worlds.
The game actually punished you for playing it, which is just impressive. So the mount, the tattoo, and the chocobo are impressive because you've had to put up with an impressive amount of bullshit. I asked my friend here to tell me what 1.0 was like. And they said, I can't describe how many f***ing giant enemy crabs I killed in La Noscia to finally get high enough to go to Karthus. And then I went there and it was f***ing empty. Like literally nothing there. Just green hills and forests with occasional mobs. There were like 2 or 3 hamlets across this gigantic map and that's it. No quests, no nothing. The Legacy Chocobo is ultra rare because you had to not only play 1.0, but you had to pay for 90 days, like have a 3-month sub that was active before the game ended, like before the end of 1.0.
I mean, if only this collection is new,
that they would be able to ride after the
everything would change.
But now that the game is good, how prestigious is it to have this ultra rare 1.0 loot? Well, one person actually cried on Reddit. I thought this post was really funny. They said, jealousy of
I watched the no clip.
is making me not want to play. Does anyone else feel the same? Does anyone have advice or a different way to think about it?
It's like asking for emotional support on Reddit is the worst thing you can do for yourself.
Imagine having something on your character that somebody else wanted so bad that they're ready to uninstall the game. Like they're just not even enjoying the game anymore because all they can think about is that thing that you have that they don't have. Like, wow. A mansion in a good spot. Honestly, getting a house at all is a pretty big achievement in the current situation with housing. But getting a large house in a good spot, that is a rare opportunity. That's a door that
we're not going to have that.
What is a good spot? Well, not facing any other houses. I would think like on top of a cliff, maybe overlooking having a nice view.
I think
it's so funny because Palms 4D players are always like, we need neighborhoods so we can be around other players'
We have a
houses.
pond next to our house.
Where's your house?
I like
not
that.
in front of anyone else's house. They're going to ruin it. My view. So right now, because the housing system is terrible and there's nowhere near enough supply for the demand, it's extremely hard to get a house at all, as I said. I personally never seen a large house plot for sale ever, except like maybe when the residential district is brand new. So I think the people with the large plots probably got them when the war opened, or they were
6.1 is going to be insane.
Now, they did confirm that in Endwalker they will be adding a lottery system, which, believe it or not, the lottery will be more fair. If that gives you an idea of just how jacked the current system is.
True. I mean, I kind of liked getting it while it was hard.
It's owned
so
by
I'll
NFC,
always have that,
and
but
just knock on the door and
I wouldn't do it again.
Daddy Warbucks will adopt you. The Gil Sync mounts, there are 2 of them. The 50 million Gil mount. Gilded Mikoshi and the 25 million gil mount, the golden vessel of Ronka. Now, my friend who has both of these said that they rarely use the Ronka one because it's less fancy, but people love the Gilded Mikoshi mount, and they said they get positive comments on it all the time. I even got invited to a Deco session once. To provide the confetti for a party picture. They said that they had made a lot of gil, being an early adopter to the Bozja content, selling tons of fragments, and also selling mounts and minions from Unreal Trials. I asked,
how do you sell
the bank for you to buy
Wait,
it?
What mounts are there that you can buy from Trials? Like at the market boards? Is that what she means?
Yeah, they said buying both mounts took away like 30% of my total wealth. So I did not need to eat stale bread. The Torontodon Mount. This is from an absurd amount of crafting and gathering in the firmament of Ishgard.
Does this
For a while,
exist
this mount
still?
was so rare, I had to go to a JP server to find the only person that I knew of who had the mount for my mount video. The Torontodon requires 500,000 points towards your Skyward score on every single crafter and gatherer job. Now, a friend of mine, Blithra, has gotten it and
6 years of work?
that it was probably about 3 months of grinding. The crafting part honestly aren't that bad, they said. It's the gathering part that takes time. And I asked, how many hours a day? Like, would you say?
Like all day?
This is an estimate, but I'd say around 550 to 650 hours. So around 6 to 7 hours a day on average.
Just
I think
crafting.
that with the passing of time, more people have been able to get this mount, but it's still one of the rarest ones. Like if we're looking at FFXIV Collect, it's beat only by mounts that are unobtainable. I mean, it represents this colossal achievement, and that's why it's really cool. For me, though, I don't really craft or gather hardcore, so if I were to get it, I guess my playstyle would have to drastically change. So those are the 10 sort of categories of things.
Yeah, I don't see myself getting any of that stuff.
To flex with in Fallout 14. Do you have any of these? Are there any things that you think I should have included on this list that I did not? And why do you think that? Because I thought through this very carefully, you know, considering all the factors that I mentioned at the start of the video.
No, it's like
to have
if I was to get something, like I'd have to pick like one thing and be like,
rare, but also
this is what we're gonna do.
Recognizable
forever.
So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know if maybe you have tips for other people that are going for some of this stuff.
I mean,
if you like this
one day, if we're lucky and capable, one day we might do some Palace of the Dead, but we'll see about that. It was a good video. Thank you for sharing.